haven't been in this seat in a while.
It's been a little bit since we have been in here.
Yeah, some of us don't like interruptions. It's a lie.
We work for anything. For sure.
Also for dancer.
Cars, houses.
Yeah.
No one lives the temporary gypsy life better than Gerald.
I like that.
No, and it's so unassuming because you look at him and you wouldn't expect it. He's got all of his USA Nike gear on.
I know. Gerald's clean and buttoned up, but he's really a gypsy at heart.
Yeah, that's fine.
He just like want to live life experiences and roll with the flow. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's a good way to live. You managed to teeter on the line of being successful at both.
Thank you.
Yeah, right?
You had a moment of not knowing how
I had
to
to
take
think about that.
Yeah. We've been recording for 1 minute and 20, so.
Solid.
Right.
Solid work.
Yeah, so we can get started if you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I feel like I should drum roll.
welcome back to our in-studio podcast, phase 1 of our reintroduction into live podcast.
Yeah, we've moved past COVID cast.
No more COVID cast. We are back to the Rue Fitness. With that being said, I am Bradley Schneller, your host. My co-host is
Sarah Altabello.
and we have a very special guest with us, U.S. track and field athlete Gerald Green. Ladies and gentlemen, Gerald is
Thank you.
very nice, Gerald. Gerald is the world record holder in the 4x100 relay. He is not the record holder in speaking to the mic. So, Gerald, project a little bit more into the mic. Okay.
How about this? This is good.
That's
Right here?
perfect. That's
There
perfect.
you
Perfect.
go.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Gerald, I just kind of like, let's tell everyone where you're at right now. So, you are running full time with the U.S.
USA, yeah.
Team USA Masters,
Yep.
which is what, 35 and up?
It's in category, so I'm blessed to be in the 40 division now.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah, I'm at the bottom of my age bracket, so this is going to be great. I see a lot of world records coming this next year, but I'm just training right now.
I love that very few people are excited, as excited as you are to
Oh,
be like,
boy.
I am very blessed to have moved up a bracket.
What is the big drop off in like times?
It depends, not much, because if you stick with it, you can really improve your time and keep your time. It's just a matter of the gap. So you got to think, I took, 6 years off? So that's about 0.5 tenths of a second, which is crazy when you talk about track time.
Well, so let's back it up some. You said you took 6 years off, okay? When did you originally get into track and field? High school?
14. So yeah, I would say high school. I was a late bloomer when you say 14. I ran with Nord Metro. My first year, I jumped in, broke the national championship record at 14.
What was what race?
200 meter.
200 meter. What was your time?
21.8 at 14.
I don't think I can do that. I can't.
I mean, I get that, like,
I mean, that's stupid that I think I could.
we remember in great detail the things that are important to us. Like, you could probably remember hitting certain PRs and where you were and almost what you were wearing. But, like, when I listen to you talk about the race, how old you were, what your time was with such detail, it always amazes me, that memory. But, I mean, it makes sense, but it's a lot.
What age do people typically get into track? Like,
Now?
Yeah, now.
Oh, 6.
6.
Yeah. I have a summer track team, Speed Dynamics, and it starts 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way to 17, 18. So you start at 6.
Dang.
So I was literally a late bloomer starting at 14.
Is there a real big disadvantage? Like starting at 13 or 14, let's be real. Or is it just technique that the kids are kind of learning? Or,
Honestly, I think that it is a disadvantage. It depends, because you burn out when you start so early. I don't know if I would be running right now if I would have started at 6. You know, so I didn't really burn out, but I still had to take a break. But so I really don't. I don't think there's a disadvantage if. I mean, you have to fall in love with the sport. Training is brutal. You know, I always say running is everyone else's punishment. Every other sport's punishment.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So
You tell half our gym they have to go out for a run, and the groans are
They're pissed.
awful.
It's funny you talk about burnout, right? Because like if we fast forward it to now, like the Last Dance documentary style, they jump back and forth between decades. You know, if you look at it now, I think a lot of people with CrossFit or HIIT training or the type of fitness that we do here at Rue, you can get burnt out. Like, you know, like I know you're like, wow, but you're a freak, okay? So, no, like, I mean, you put your body through enough torture after 10 years, you start to go through like these ebbs and flows of how you feel in your training, and I don't have any motivation, that type of thing. It takes a special person to be like 10 years in and be like, I'm ready to go, bring on the competition, you know? What's funny is that like the quarantine for 60 days, I think kind of gave us all a break mentally. And now we're all like, let's go do some WODs and throw down.
Yeah, everyone came back in ready to hit the ground running.
Yeah, whether that's a good thing or not, but that's what they did. So
Time will tell.
Right. So I think that's interesting, but you find that out with a lot of maybe like tennis players that start at 6 or 7 or something like that. And they've been playing one sport or doing one thing for 20 years. You know, they might get into their 20s and they're like, F it, I'm done. No?
it depends. I love competing, just period. And more important, I hate losing. So, like when you talk about quarantine, I was still training every day, even though I knew
You were trying to win quarantine.
Oh yeah. Look, I looked at it and I said, well, I'm already training in the park by myself, pulling trucks, doing crazy stuff anyway. So quarantine didn't really do anything to my training, but my competitors now don't have a gym.
Gerald, Gerald, can you tell everybody what your Instagram handle is right now?
But G-Force?
G-Force?
Yeah, gforce.green. That's my Instagram.
Gforce.green is his Instagram handle. Here's why that's important. If you're listening to this podcast right now, pull out your phone if you're not driving. Go to that, okay? Check out the pictures of him training, and you can get a picture of when I'm going to make fun of Gerald and say that Gerald wears all the gear to train. Like, he will pull a truck, have a weight vest on, one of those masks, parachutes, chains, barbell on his back. He's like straddling one of those seal balls coming down the street, all while pulling a truck. He's like, fitness.
So, funny story. I met Gerald out at City Park, and we got in touch, and one thing I started to do right away was follow him on social media. And this is what, like 8 or 9 years ago now?
Yeah.
At least 8 and a half. And when it was still G3 Superstar.
Oh, yeah.
By the way.
Imagine the
Instagram
Imagine the balls you got to have to name your Instagram superstar.
G3 Superstar. So the first memory I have of like looking at his social media and the crazy stuff he would do is you were at, I think, French Riviera, and it's a photo of him planking with each hand and each foot on a medicine ball and a tire that is bigger than him on his back. So he's perfected this. He's been doing it for a decade.
I love it. I love it.
And would even, like, we would be doing stuff, and I would be doing a workout with, like, 1 or 2 parachutes, and Gerald would be like, I'm going to get a good photo, and strap 2 more on me. And it would be like hitting a brick wall.
There you go.
Just so I could take a photo.
There you go. So that's how you know social media is not real. Sarah did not really train like that. Gerald strapped 2 extra parachutes just for the picture. So there's your social media life lesson of the day.
He would be like, oh, last sprint? Here you go. Here's 2 more parachutes. This is going to look great on your Instagram.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't I have you run a mile with a parachute one time?
You did not have me do that.
That sounds crazy.
No?
A mile?
No.
Or was it intervals, 400 intervals with a parachute?
That sounds more realistic.
Probably. We used
That's
to
still
do
crazy,
a
too.
lot.
It's still crazy, too.
We used to do a lot in the middle of the track at City Park. Lots of like 100-yard sprints.
Yeah, that was fun.
I feel
or it would
like
be like sprint,
was
take
fun.
off your parachute,
That was fun.
drag a sled back, leave the sled, do stuff over these hurdles. That was the
Yeah.
Did you go to the track during quarantine?
yes, a few times.
You went? You
A
went and
few
ran
times,
a couple
few
of times,
yeah.
right? I went too. It was like maybe it was like the French Riviera of quarantine.
Oh my
They had like a
gosh.
bunch of people peacocking out there, like trainers and people, and then everybody like looking at who's the hardest dude out there. But I mean, no lie, like when I train at Jefferson Playground sometime, I'm like, oh, I'll race that guy. I'll race that guy. How fast do you think he is? I'll race him.
Even out there, I think I was there the day after the draft this year, and it was all high school football players suddenly like, oh, I could do that. I could do that.
Nope.
Like running
No, you
drills
can't.
that they had probably not done in like 6 months.
You know what? There's a story. Do you remember when I had you come out to one of my practices when I was training Leonard Fournette?
Yeah.
You remember
So backstory, Gerald, you ran for St. Aug when you were in high school, right?
That's right.
And then Gerald was the strength and conditioning coach for their track team and their football team.
Just the track team.
Just the track
Just
team?
the track team. But he
Okay.
was on the track team too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Continue. So this is why Gerald was training him at the time.
Well, these guys, after the training, after we run, you have to do simple push-ups, sit-ups, just something simple. And they
For
were-
track.
For track.
Right.
But they were complaining about it, Leonard included. And so I was like, you know what? I'm trained. I trained this ballerina. She's going to come out here. She's going to destroy you guys. So after training, Sarah comes walking across the track, right? She
No,
just
not like mid-training, I came in and I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do? And he was like, sit.
oh boy.
He just pointed. He was like, sit. Just
And
sit.
you're in the middle of St. Aug track practice, Sarah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of St. Aug track practice.
Love it.
Right. And so Sarah comes to me. She says, now everybody's getting ready to start. She's like, well, what do we have? And I think it was like
It was push-up to planks, I think, and something else.
in and out abs, right?
It
10 to
was
1,
like
something
a 10
easy.
to 1 something where you reversed it
Yeah.
back up. Something that takes like 3 to 5 minutes.
All I know is when I told Sarah what the workout was, she was like, that's it? That's all you want me to do? And I was like, yes. And she destroyed everybody.
So I finish, and he's like, okay, you can leave.
Yeah. She just walked away after I was like, you can leave. She just walked away.
Well, they're
it was,
still
it was
working.
so awesome.
And I was like, okay. And I didn't know who was at that track practice
Right.
until like 2 or 3 years later. He's like, do you know who that was? And I was like, I don't know. I thought you just wanted me to come mess with these high school kids' heads a little bit. So
Yeah.
Dang.
She destroyed Leonard Fournette in the workout and he doesn't even know it probably.
yeah, and I didn't.
He might know it now.
Oh, yeah, I'll
I'll
have him
He's
do
probably
that.
listening to this podcast
right now.
right now. So you 14, you start, right?
Yeah.
And then you were a freshman at St. Aug at 14, right? So you went to St. Aug, and now you're on the track team. What did like your training look like then?
I hated them. I love St. Aug, but they were militant. That might have been my hardest training ever.
For the track team.
For track team, look, track practice is harder than the hardest type of practice.
You don't have
I
to tell
think.
me twice, dude.
You know?
No,
I
yeah,
know. You
we
don't have to
agree.
tell me twice. I 100%
You've
agree.
trained both of us. We know. It's honestly the most mentally grueling thing I've ever done.
That's what it is. When I tell you, St. Aug would make you quit, and I loved my coach, Coach Payne. I loved him to death because, you know, G3 superstar, right? He never treated me like a superstar, and it drove me crazy. And so we had like 3 600s, right? This would be a typical training session. 3 600s, 5 minutes of rest, and you have to do it in like a minute and 30. So you have to come across the 400 at a minute. So it's 15-second hundreds.
That's rough.
Well, the last man had to cross or it didn't count. So it didn't make any sense.
And y'all had to do another 600 if it.
We would do 10 600s.
Oh my God, Gerald.
Until 3. And I stormed off like several times. Each year I quit. Each year I quit track at St. Aug. And one of the craziest things my coach ever told me was, and this gave me perspective. He says, you know what, Jared, we're in a 4x4 relay, and I put you at third leg, and you run the fastest time of your life. You run a 45 at the time. You run a 45-second 400, and you're stroking. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm stroking. Yeah, that's right.
By the way, 45 seconds is 2 seconds off the world record pace that Michael Johnson set. So
This is true.
by the way.
Yes.
And this was high school when I ran
Yeah.
45. So I said, yeah, I'm doing great. And he says, okay, so let me ask you a question. Once you give the stick off to the fourth leg and he runs a 60 and we get second, what does that 45 mean to me? Because we lost.
Yeah, true. Good point.
That's perspective.
So your team is only as strong as your weakest link.
That's right.
Yeah. What would you say the physical comparisons of in high school versus maybe the next age bracket, the collegiate bracket, in terms of running? I mean, obviously, I feel like you don't peak in high school.
Everything becomes more technical, and you start
In college.
and you start.
So high school's
getting
pretty
your-
raw.
Yeah, but I feel endurance wise, you're at your physical peak in high school.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, but as you get older, you get stronger and you get more technical and the times become faster. But you develop that endurance, that physical endurance in high school. I mean, I can't remember. My workouts in college were easy compared to high school. And it was just because they were more technical.
Yeah.
And the next bracket, when you become professional, it becomes easier. It becomes more technical.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, also you're older, so you can't run as much, right?
I don't run nearly as much now.
Yeah, you do not.
No,
So-
I don't.
So you leave from St. Aug. Where do you go from there?
LSU.
LSU.
Yeah, I
All
won
right.
2 national championships with LSU.
Pat Henry's your coach?
That's right.
All right.
Yeah, I'm a
18, 19 national
Now,
championships, right?
did he treat you like a superstar?
He probably saw your Instagram handle and was like, what the fuck?
Do you think I just have this mental image of Gerald like sitting in his apartment making his Instagram and he's like, take that Coach Payne, take that Coach Henry, and like putting in G3 superstar.
By the way, Gerald is too old to have an Instagram in college. Instagram did not exist yet.
I think that was College Club was then. You remember College Club? No?
College club.
Come on, there was a College Club.
Just
No.
for you.
I had
Wow.
Facebook in 2003.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, people my age know what College Club is. There was a College Club before there was Facebook.
Oh, that's news to me.
Everyone gets on the Googles.
Everybody's going to Google college club. That sounds interesting. That sounds super interesting. So what races did you run in college?
100, 200, 400, 4x1, 4x4.
That's a lot, right? Is that?
Yeah.
I mean, what is your typical track athlete run?
Either you're usually a 1-2 or you're a 4. Sometimes you can go to 8. I did not want to go to 8 at all. And I remember Coach Elliott and Coach Henry used to fight over me because they wanted me to run the 800. Coach Elliott wanted me to run the 800. And there's no way I was running the 8.
I feel like that's just brutal mentally.
I couldn't imagine running the 8. I mean, the 4 is tough enough.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right?
But the 8 is slower, so.
It is, but I used to challenge the 800-meter runners to a 600.
Because the 600 is not a race. But it is an indoor, isn't it? No.
It is, actually.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah.
It's an indoor race. But I never wanted to run the 8, but I didn't like the fact that the 800-meter runners thought that they could beat me in the 6. And so we would go the whole day talking
shit.
about the 6.
I love it.
And so
Sounds familiar.
my perception is I can get across the 4 at 49 with no problem. And if your max is a 48, 49, while you're trying to catch me that last 200, I'm going to relax. And that last 100, I'm just going to walk you down. So I was running 115, 114 in the 600. And Coach Elliott was like, you realize if you jog a 30, that's a 144? I mean, and that's a 144, and that's world record, world class in college, and you don't train for the 8.
Right.
So he literally went to Coach Henry and was like, I'm taking him for the 800 group. Coach Henry said no, because I was also a 10-1 100-meter runner,
Right.
5'4", and 20.2. So, yeah, I stayed with the sprint groups because there was no way I was running 8 anyway. I just like to brag and say I could run a good 6.
I like it. What did your training look like at LSU in terms of fitness wise? Like, so you would kind of give me your schedule. Like, how many times a week would y'all run?
Every day.
You would run every day.
Every day.
Really?
Yeah.
So not just drills. You're running every day.
Every day. And I would say Wednesdays we'll run, then we'll be in the pool. We didn't run Sunday. Saturdays was heel day.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Oh, we had to run those hills at I think it's Highland
Oh, Hills.
The Hills.
I swear to God, I thought you said heels.
I was
You've
like,
been living in Baton Rouge
Hills.
too long, Gerald.
I was like, stilettos,
That's what I was thinking. I'm like,
open toe, closed
drag
toe.
brunch here.
Before it was cool.
Jeez. Heels. What?
I was like, special shoe? What are we talking about?
So you had to run hills. Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Every day.
Heels.
When did y'all lift?
After practice.
Every
Every
day.
day.
Every day?
Yeah.
What did your lifting schedule look like? That's what I'm interested to know because like so now because I always talk about Sarah and I talk about this a lot is there's a difference between like performance training and then exercising. Big difference, right? And you guys are performance training. Now the difference is though is that you guys are in your late teens or early 20s.
Well, even now, there's a difference. Okay, you can coin this, by the way. I say that you train for you work out for a look, you train for a purpose. Even now.
Okay.
So you could do basically the same thing, but the intensity of which you do it will determine if you're doing it just to work out or if you're doing it to perform. And typically, the schedule we were on, we would do Olympic lifts Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Those Tuesdays and Thursdays, we would do more plyometrics. And Saturday, we would be off from lifting. Saturday and Sunday, we'd be off from lifting. But I pretty much run that same schedule now. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it's always worked for me. But it's interesting because college expects you to know things. So you guys have seen me lift. You know, I don't know how to do cleans. I can do them, but I'm muscling them.
Right.
But it's because I was never taught properly because they expect you to be able to know that from St. Aug. What St. Aug?
But they don't teach. High schools don't teach you how to
high
lift.
school don't
No.
really teach you that at all. And so
They're getting better. I've seen, so one of our coaches, Shane, everybody knows Coach Shane. He's the new offensive coordinator at Destrehan. And we saw some of his high school kids. He sent us some videos from a couple of their running backs. And I mean, I'm talking about like 16-year-old kids cleaning 350, 400.
Yeah.
And, but like really nice technique.
Yeah.
Really nice technique. So normally I like to make fun of football players because they can't lift worth of shit, but these guys were crushing it.
I like the 500-pound squats where they go down like 3 inches.
Yeah, that's not a squat.
Yeah.
But you see more and more like in collegiate videos of them squatting, they all break parallel. I think there's a renewed like sense of precision. I'm not sure.
Did you notice? I think that's the impact of CrossFit on sports in general.
I think it could be. I mean, I don't want to say that because I don't know what the like strength and conditioning world was, you know, maybe 15 years ago in high school, college, you know, professional sports. But I know now there is definite like greater like attention to detail.
Well, they're looking, I feel like now they're looking at technique past this specific sport and seeing how perfecting the technique in the lift will benefit their strength overall and their longevity.
Longevity, I think, is
Right.
a key. Like
Yeah,
the better the lift looks, the less risk of injury, I would imagine.
Right.
Well, I'm glad you guys said that because I'll say I really think CrossFit had an impact on it because you had people at the time, including myself.
What year was that, if you don't mind aging yourself?
We're talking high school, 99.
Okay. 99.
You know, so
you were at LSU early 2000s.
Yes.
He already told us his age bracket.
Yeah, I mean, when you
Yeah,
say college club, I mean, people
Right,
know.
right.
Yeah, and I said, you know, but I can tell a lot of your CrossFit coaches actually became high school football coaches. They worked with the strength and conditioning coaches at the colleges, and literally, all of a sudden, technique improves because when I was there, they didn't care about technique. They didn't. They just the end game was running fast, and if you already had that, they'll say, well, you know, you're going to get stronger no matter what in the weight room. Just make sure.
But there
you run
wasn't,
fast.
you don't think, I mean, I know what you think, but there's a translation from, you know, maybe increasing your power in the gym to running, you know, and if your technique's better, you're going to be able to lift more, you're going to be able to exert more power, which will translate better on the track, or yes or no?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think I'm actually more powerful now than I've ever been. When you talk about Olympic lifts, I'm getting my maxes, lifetime maxes now. I feel more powerful and more explosive. It's just the endurance that I used to have is something I have to work on.
Yeah.
You know, I think my body can work on it and can get back to that level. But then you talk about the injury. The injuries set up as the older you get. Now you have to actually take more precedence into your recovery, just as you do in your training. I call it active recovery or even forced recovery. But that can take hours a day, and
no one likes to do that. No one likes
I
to do
hate
that.
it. The red light therapy, the stem train.
Which goes back to like, what's your purpose for training?
Yeah.
Right? Which may have to do with like how hard you train because you don't want to have that much active recovery.
Yeah.
You know, like even for Sarah and I, which we might be training for fun, for health, and to just kind of see what we can do with our bodies. Not much else, competition here or there, but like we're not trying to make anything other than, you know, see what we can do in terms of our bodies, right? So like if we wanted to go 100% every single day, we might need 3 hours of some type of recovery therapy a day. We don't have that, you know? So it's like you adjust your training accordingly.
Yeah, and that's been a big thing I've seen with friends that have wanted to kind of make a move and be more competitive is they put all the work in on the training, but they don't take near the time they need to recover to train properly the next day.
And then there's more time in the front end with the warming up and stuff like that to get ready that people are skipping out on, and that's how all these injuries occur. So
you mentioned that your weight training schedule is pretty similar to what it was in college, but what is your running schedule like?
Oh, it's not similar at all.
Right, because we had kind of talked about that before we started, how you don't want to run every day. So what does that look like for you?
3 days a week, and it's extremely tapered down. So I won't run more than some days I have to do my 8 runs, but it's going to be 200s. I'm not doing 8 300s or any of that craziness anymore. 4 400s, yeah, I'm not doing that. I did, like, let's say today, I did 1 350, 1 250, 1 150. I feel great. It's now it's quality over quantity. Yeah. I'm not doing all that running.
Do you think it is like, should everyone be focusing on that at all times, or it doesn't really matter when you're in high school or in college because you do have that endurance capacity to where it's more about volume?
I think it's very important in your early years to just develop the work habit, the work ethic.
Yeah.
And then you get to taper off. Even in high school, I think you should start tapering off. I don't think you need all of the volume unless it's in the off season. But the thing I know now, I wish I knew then, is almost like at this point, I train myself as if, if I knew this stuff back then, how would I be? And so, if I was to train any of my athletes now, I would go more quality just to avoid injuries. And I actually would have them focus more on mobility, flexibility, the things I know you need and people usually won't make the effort to do, because everyone wants the meat and potatoes, and that's running, or even the lifting. They really don't want what actually gets you. We're saying technique, that's what improves. Well, that's drills. So anytime someone comes to me and say, hey, I want to run fast. Okay, we're going to do drills. And they look at me like, so we're not running today? No, you're doing drills all day.
I've done 45 minutes of drills with Gerald before. It sucks. It's brutal.
I will say what Gerald used to put me through sucked immensely. But I decided one day to stay late and like stretch or do some running or something. And I watched you work with one of your high school athletes, and y'all just worked on his start for 45 minutes. And whatever we had done, I was so thankful that wasn't what I had done. I was like, that looks awful.
God. So you finish LSU. I just said LSU. That's what I used to say. LSU. LSU. I don't know. My speech pattern's off today. After that,
Went pro.
You went pro. What does pro look like for for a track athlete?
I didn't appreciate it then. It's just fun, traveling. You get to go to all of the big meets. You get to wear the gear. You know,
You're all about the gear too. If Nike
the way.
paid you in gear, you would take less salary.
well, it's funny you say that, right? I remember my first big contract was supposed to be with ASICS, right? And I wanted Nike so bad.
I remember this story. It's so good.
I wanted Nike so bad. And, you know, Nike wasn't offering me what ASICS was offering me. And I was like, screw that. Nike, you should come at me better. I'm the national champion. I'm ranked in the world in the 100, the 2, and the 4. And you're just going to go ahead and give this high school kid $90 million. That high school kid was LeBron James.
Oh,
you're just going to give him $90 million? Like, are you kidding me? And I turned down my contract.
With ASICS?
I turned all of them down. I was so upset.
Oh,
I
Gerald.
was so upset.
You need to consult me before you make these decisions.
Oh,
Like-
these were bad days.
Golly.
Talk about pouting. So indignant.
20 years later, look at LeBron James. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was a good move, Nike. That was a
Yeah,
good
good job.
move.
And look
then
at you
there's
now.
you.
You'd be like, I'll take Joe's footwear contract. Gerald's wearing a Payless jersey as they run around the track. I didn't know Payless sells track shoes. They don't, but
Oh, is that place still open? No.
no, they closed.
They gave it to me for free.
But they gave me a 50% discount on all their closeout stuff.
Oh, dude, that was so crazy. But, you know, when you have that invincibility where you think, oh, well, you know, I'm just going to break the world record the next year and pull my hamstring. I ended up ripping my hamstring in 2003, and I was ranked top 5 in the world. In 2004, my training partner ended up getting 3rd in the Olympics that year. I was so upset. But, yeah, that was a bad move.
Did you notice, was there a particular year, like in terms of age, where you noticed that, okay, I'm starting to get more bumps and bruises or aches and pains or strains, or I need to be more careful, or I don't feel invincible anymore?
You know what? Mentally, you don't think that. It just happens, and you just say, okay, you have to get over that injury and just keep going. You know, I would say once I hit 30.
That's what I was going to say, 30 for me.
30 would be
And I mean,
the
30
mark.
was like recreational fitness, but I just noticed where before, like, I was always able to bounce back and stuff like that. And at 30, I'm starting to be like,
Ooh.
I know Sarah's
Enjoy the
getting
next-
nervous.
I enjoy the next 29 days before it all goes downhill.
But it's so funny.
gonna
It was
die.
like a switch when I hit 30. It was like a switch. And there hasn't been that much of a difference from maybe like 30 to 36, but like 29 to 30 was a gigantic difference in how I felt.
Oh, no. It was 30, all of a sudden, you feel something in your knee. And it's like, well, why? I just woke up this morning. I have no idea why I feel something in my knee. It's like you turn 30, the day after, it's like nothing changed in your life. And it's just, wait, I have something wrong with my knee.
For those of you just listening, Sarah's covering her ears right now. She doesn't want to hear what's happening.
La 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 la.
No. 30, I think 33 probably was the worst. Because I remember that Monday, I'm benching 275, no problem. And I had maxed out at 350. This is 33. And I turned 34 that Wednesday. The morning I turned 34, I'm benching, warming up 225. I warmed up 275, went up nice and smooth. That second lift, that second rep, my chest is doing. That's all you heard. And I'm like, I was stuck. And, you know, I have this complex. I was like, no, y'all saw me lift 275. It's not me. Something wrong. Because people would be like, hey, little man under the bench, 275. I was like, no, you see me do it. But literally, that morning, I ripped my chest just like that, 33 to 34.
Dang, man.
That morning. The morning I turned. So, yeah. I haven't had any injuries or anything since then. Well, you know, hamstrings here and there.
When did you
Tweaks.
Yeah, a little
When
tweaks.
did you kind of like, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, fizzle out of professional track? What age?
2016. So what? I'm 40 now. So
Oh, that's not too
long ago.
That's not too long ago.
You know, I was gonna go after the Olympics in Brazil, right? I really wanted to do it. This is when they had the Zika virus going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was ready. I was physically ready. I wanted to do it. And I was doing AcroYoga at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I was really heavy into AcroYoga, right?
You were.
Yes, I was. And a company came up to me and they said, hey, we want to send you to Italy for 70 days, all expense paid, to teach acro, you know, at like a 5-star spas. And I was like, well, you know, I was supposed to do the U.S. championships, but, you know, if I don't make the team, I'll miss out on Brazil and Italy.
this,
I'm
yeah.
like, screw it, I'm going to Italy. I'm retired.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's the right decision.
Don't pull another A6 move.
Yeah, Joe, you
Life
got
has taught you anything.
one's a definite, the other one is a maybe. I mean, I understand if you were a shoo-in, if you were.
I wasn't a shoe-in.
Yeah.
Just, you know.
Yeah, you would know, like, okay, I got a good shot to make this.
Right.
The decision would have been a little bit different. So you mentioned acro. When did you get into AcroYoga? And can you explain to everyone what AcroYoga is?
Sarah, when did I get into acro? About 6.
I was going to say about 6-7 years ago, because we had probably been working out a good 10 months to a year before randomly Gerald was like, I want to do an airplane. And we would finish our workout and he would lay on the mat and he would balance me on his feet. And that's how it started.
That's how it started.
There was a photo that recently popped up. It was the one, so he's laying on the ground, his feet are flat, so his knees are bent, and he's holding my shoulders, but I am like balancing.
Yeah.
Shoulder stand, yeah.
It was a shoulder stand with you laying down.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like how it started. I don't know if you just saw a couple things and you're like, I want to do this.
That's what happened.
So you taught yourself AcroYoga?
Well, so no. I was training and there was a guy that was like the top trainer.
Was it Aaron?
Aaron, yeah. He was one of the top acro people.
He was real crunchy.
Oh, yeah. Look, we talked about
Super
that
hippie,
gypsy
y'all.
life.
Super
Yeah, we
hippie.
talked about
That gypsy
life. Yeah.
Aaron didn't teeter. He was fully into the gypsy
Oh,
life.
my goodness. It was awesome. It was awesome.
He would like work out barefoot with us.
Yeah, he did.
We'd be doing all kinds of plyo out under the peristyle at City Park, like on cement, and he would be barefoot.
I can't do that.
yeah.
I can't do that.
Awful.
I can't do
Grunting.
that.
It was awesome. Yeah. But I started training him because he wanted to go on America's Got Talent for acro. I didn't know what acro was. I just
So you were training him in fitness.
in fitness. So
Right.
he couldn't do a handstand push-up. And I'm like, I don't understand that, you know? But he could do acro, and I had no idea what acro was. And so that's how I got into it for about 3 months. And then, you know, people get like, oh, he might be a little bit too good, so we should stop this training.
Oh, he stopped training you.
Oh, yeah. He was like, we should stop training because he saw something. And I was like, okay.
You should welcome
Well,
that.
I'm going to train myself.
You're a great base because of your strength, and you do, I think, what you have that a lot of people with your amount of muscle don't have is enough hamstring, like, mobility and flexibility to be a safe base. Plus, you're strong. So you can save someone who's struggling.
So for those of you wondering what Sarah and Gerald are talking about, I'll break it down for you guys. So the base is the person on the ground. The flyer, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Flyer is the person that Gerald, so Sarah's the flyer, Gerald's the base. Gerald's laying on the ground, and he is basically spinning Sarah around with his feet and hands, and Sarah's looking all pretty like a ballerina up in the air while Gerald moves her around. So there we go,
If I'm
base
not
and
mistaken,
flyer.
didn't that base you once?
Yeah.
Or was it just
I was a
Bob? It
flyer.
you. Yeah,
No,
you were
I
a
did it.
flyer
I
once.
did
Yeah,
it.
you were a flyer, yeah.
Yeah, we did a little acro yoga seminar at Rue, and it was awesome.
So much fun.
He moved me around, and I'm like, you can't do this. No way. I weigh like 200 pounds. And he just spun me around like a little bird.
And it was fun to see Gerald's transition, because I think by the time you and Aaron had that falling out, or Aaron just kind of started ghosting you.
Yeah.
Is that you'd been to enough classes, you had made enough connections with other people that were big in the community that you could continue to work on it, just not with him. Like, you still had people interested.
That's that competitiveness that's absolutely insane and crazy. You know, I could remember I told someone, I said, I'm going to be the best bass in Louisiana, and then I'm not going to bass anyone. That's what I said. I was good. That was my whole. It got really dark. Like,
That's
it was
pretty
like,
funny.
you know, and I just worked just to be the best bass. So I wouldn't bass. So I could say, no, I'm not basing you. That's that's all I wanted to do. And it just took off to where I really liked. I mean, I don't think it's a sport. Yeah, it could be a sport. I mean, depends on how high up you go. But
It's pretty to watch.
oh, look, it gets intense. You know, there's an Acro Olympics.
I did not know
There
that.
really is. Yeah.
It's so popular, none of us have heard of it. That's how successful it is.
I will say though, if you've never done it, haven't seen it, and you do ever get the opportunity to like take a class, it's fun.
We should do it again. Let's do it again.
We should do it again.
And Gerald's much better at communicating now, because what he would do with me when he started getting into it is he would build essentially a flow where once we started moving, we would just go through this series for like 5 minutes. But it took us an hour to get there. And the best part is my hips are on his feet. I'm suspended in the air. And he's like, I just need you, wait, let me think. If I'm you and I turn, okay, left, no, give me your right arm. Wait, no, bend that foot. No, never mind.
She was the guinea pig.
I
So
love
it
it.
would
Yeah,
take
she
an
really
hour
was.
to learn like a 5-minute flow for
So,
for fun.
so for those of you at home following this timeline, as Gerald's narcissism helped him fizzle out of the professional track scene, he got heavily
It
involved
also
in
fueled.
his acro yoga scene, which you basically became the acro yoga scene in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And you're personally training people on the side, and basically the next wave of athletes in Louisiana, right?
Oh yeah, you know, at one point I think I had the craziest training schedule. I would get up for no reason at all. I would get up at 2:30, start training at 3 a.m., train myself at 3 a.m. That would be body weight training. Then I would run at 4. Then I would weight train at 5. This is all a.m. I bring my kids to school at 6. I would go out and then circuit train at 7 a.m.
That's crazy.
8 a.m. I would do acro training. 9 a.m. I would come to Rue and do CrossFit.
Yep.
So we're talking by the time 10 o'clock rolled around, I've trained for almost 6 hours.
And I mean, even before you got into acro, he was still waking up that early. I think at the time you were going to someone's house, like that high school kid.
Oh yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, and
That's how you got.
training
That's
them.
how you got the car.
No, that's
That was
not.
the
Oh, that's
apartment.
that's a
That was
different
the
one.
apartment on
That was
Canal,
the apartment
right?
on Canal. Yeah, I got the apartment.
So he didn't. He didn't take an ASICS contract, but this is how he got an apartment, guys.
So he trained this guy's high school kid every morning. Every single morning, Gerald was there at like 5 a.m. after having done his own training. Like you said, he woke up at like 2:30 or 3, did his own thing. You trained him. Then you came out to the park. And you and I would usually work out then,
Yeah.
sometimes with Kelly. And you would have clients for probably 3 to 4 hours straight. You would go home, be absolutely dead to the world. If high school, like if you had to train St. Aug, then you would go out there, and then once again was dead to the world.
Yeah.
I like it. So you had all your business in the morning, and kind of the rest of the afternoon was me
yeah.
time.
That's right. And I would do nothing. Oh, wow, I've been doing social distancing for a long
For a
time.
very long
Wow, this talking 10 years. Ain't this?
You're also the first person I knew that had virtual reality goggles. So.
If that's not a sign, I don't know what is.
So the Acro World, though, so you're in New Orleans. The Acro World gets you to Baton Rouge, where you currently reside in Baton Rouge, right? Or was it your kids moved to Baton Rouge? That's why.
No, my mom was sick.
That's right. That's right.
So that's why I ended up going to Baton Rouge. And I think it happened all at the same time. I mean, just perfect in the sense of I needed to get away because I was giving all of my energy just to everyone. And we had the powerlifting at Rue that when I competed.
Yeah.
And I had so much fun doing it that I said I wanted to try to see if I could go nationals or something with powerlifting, right?
Which you have the body to do.
Oh.
You really do have the body to do it.
I still, to this day, I think I was robbed because the lady didn't like my Goku uniform I had on. I still think.
Gerald absolutely loves Dragon Ball Z, side note, and it was not uncommon for the only music for him to play during my workout be Dragon Ball Z soundtracks. Like, it was not uncommon. I had no choice in the music, and sometimes it was Dragon Ball Z.
This is
awesome.
true.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we would do like yoga, and it would just be Dragon Ball music.
Not just yoga, everything.
Everything.
I really like Dragon Ball Z. Side note with that.
This whole thing is the side
Oh,
note.
it is. Just saying gear. That's where I got the speed suit from, right? When I decided I wanted to start running again, I wanted to run in Dragon Ball uniforms, right? And so I get to...
That'd be pretty badass, though. Barreling down the track like that. Come on.
I go to the people and I'm like, hey, man, I'm getting ready to win nationals. This is first year back. I'm like, I'm getting ready to win nationals. Wouldn't it be cool if I had you just saying gear on? Like, I'm an avid Dragon Ball fan. And they looked at me and was like, well, what's your Instagram like? And they looked at my number and was like, yeah, that's too low. And they wouldn't
You could have
sponsor
just
me.
paid for some followers and gotten a sponsorship.
Right? But I was so upset because I was like, but you're sponsoring all these other people that they're not even that good. They just have a bunch of followers and their workouts suck. And I'm literally getting ready to win nationals. Like, are you kidding me? So I win nationals. I think when my first year back for Masters, I win the 100 to 2 and I in the 4x1 relay. So I come back with 3 gold medals. And so I go, and I had the Dragon Ball Z on. So I go back to him. I'm like, look, this is me winning in your gear. I made the USA World team. Mm-hmm. You may want to sponsor me again. You have a second chance because I really like Dragon Ball.
I'm giving you a chance.
They didn't sponsor me again.
Shocker.
I was so upset.
Those medals are nice, but
You know,
get an extra 1,000 followers.
I tell
and
you
then
what,
we'll talk.
once I won the second go round, then they came back, hey, we want to sponsor you. I'm like, nope, I'm only wearing USA stuff now.
They looked at you were on the Masters team, and they're like, how many Masters people like Dragon Ball Z?
Well, that
you
would
would be surprised.
There you go. 1.
2, I know another person.
There you go. 2. You get 2 suits for free.
Knock joke.
So you moved to Baton Rouge. You're doing acro. Like, what caused you to be like, you know what? I want to get back into running.
One of my good friends from high school, I'm telling you, I hadn't seen this guy 20 years. I haven't even spoke to this guy 20 years. And matter of fact, it's funny how this all plays out. There was a guy who worked out at Rue, and I can't remember his name. He comes to me, he says, hey, man, I ran into Diedrich, and he went to Riverdale. I think it was Riverdale's homecoming or something, and they all went. And the guy at Riverdale was like, yeah, man, I just made Team USA and Masters, and I'm this and that. And
Gerald's like, let's race right now, bitch.
No, the Rue guy was like, well, you're not faster than my speed coach. You're not faster than my speed coach, I promise you. And so the guy was like, well, I'm USA. Yeah, of course I am. And so he said, well, my speed coach is Gerald Green. And the dude was like, oh, my God, like, I've been looking for him for 20 years. Like, is he still running? And so that's how he got my number.
Oh, that's funny.
And he messages me, and he says, hey, man, I'm with Team USA. We should run again. I'm like, I'm retired. I'm not ready anymore. And I hung up on it. I go to his page.
ASICs, dude.
Jeez,
Gerald. Open up yourself to opportunities.
Because here's the thing. This was the same week I had decided I was going to do powerlifting for real.
Right.
And so
you're a better runner. You're an awesome powerlifter. You're a better runner.
Yeah.
I thought I could develop,
Yeah. At 40.
Oh, it's Masters now. It's going
It's
down.
all Masters.
I can do anything at this point.
The Masters track world is more lucrative.
This is true.
Very true.
So anyway.
Well, when I went to the guy's Facebook, I got pissed because he had USA everything. He's traveling all over the world, and I started missing it.
He's got all the gear.
And all the medals, and he broke the world record in a 4x2 relay. And he was like, we just need one more leg. I kid you not. I told this guy, I said, you realize if I come back, you're not winning anymore, right? Because we're in the same age group. You won't win. You've never beaten me 20 years. You're not going to win. And he was like, just come back. And that's why I came back.
And he hasn't.
And
he hasn't won since.
And you know
Not the
what?
guy.
No.
The guy, not Gerald.
No.
The guy.
He ducked me. Now this is funny. He ducked me for 2 years and then moved up to the 40 age group. So I didn't race him for 2 years that I've been running now, and it's
And now
coming.
you can.
Like we're talking.
You're
about
ready.
We're talking about how you and John. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I have my own little personal thing. It's coming. He can't duck me this year.
His eyes are real big. I think his left eye's starting to twitch a little bit.
He can't duck me this year.
That's right. And Jonathan, you can't duck me. I don't care how many calf strains you get, son.
What is it? I think we're at 28 days left until this.
I'm ready.
I cannot
less.
wait to see you run.
I'm picking out my gold shoes right now as we speak.
Stop.
Are you really gonna do gold shoes?
I'd love to wear some gold shoes. That'd be awesome.
I'm working on USA gear for you.
Oh, I'm wearing that too.
Yeah.
Jonathan can wear some hookah gear.
Bless.
The big shoes with the giant soles on them. So, all right. So you jump into, the Masters USA Track and Field.
Yeah.
Okay. You're in it. You go your very first nationals. You crush. You win some medals.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I imagine there's not like a facility. So you train on your own and then you come together. Like, how does that work?
So you basically, like you say, you train on your own and you come together. I think going to the Masters meet was probably the greatest thing that could have happened to me for the rest of my life at this point. Some of the eye openers I've seen was there was a 65-year-old man that ran an 11.5 in 100. And he broke the USA championships.
Jeez.
Guy was named Val, and he used to. And the same way I can sit and tell stories, he was sitting telling me stories about how, like, I got the inside to the Carl Lewis Ben Johnson thing that happened back then.
Yeah.
He was there, and he ran with them, and he's still running. And the only thing
So you could do this forever.
Yeah, I looked at it.
I
I was
love
like, 30 years from now, I'm gonna smash your record. I told him this. Like, this is crazy. There was a 72-year-old guy. He ran, if I'm not
11
mistaken,
something at 65.
11.5.
Y'all, the fastest 100 I ever ran was like a 13 something.
He ran a 24.3 in the 200.
Jeez.
65. 72-year-old runs a 58 in the 400, breaks the world record. 72.
A what?
72.
A 58
58
in the 400?
400.
Oh my God, I hate
You
this
got
guy.
work to do.
No, this is insane. And so when I'm talking to him, the craziest thing, he's like, yeah, I started running, 10 years ago, and I've just been at it. And I'm thinking to myself, so you just started running at 62? Are you kidding me? I got to jump on everybody. I'm at 25 years right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's no reason I need to stop. I mean, I'm going to run forever. I mean, we had the 100-year-old woman just broke the world record in the 50 from Baton Rouge.
That shit's crazy. When I watch those older people run, like,
Yeah.
it is insane how fast they still are.
What's funny about it, it's insane how fast they are, and they started late. So I'm looking at them like, dude, your form's off. That's how I'm looking at them because they
Right.
started late.
That's how I feel when I watch Jonathan run. Dude, your form is off. Like, you're quick, you're fast, but your form is off.
Well, if you could teach them and have them maintain it, you could really keep this up. Like, I look forward to seeing what Val does, and that's the 65-year-old guy, when he's 80. I think he can still run 12 seconds when he's 80.
Oh my God.
I do. I believe that.
How do they do that? I don't understand. Like,
Well, they say use it or lose it.
Yeah.
Just there is no slowing down at this point because let's be clear. World-class times for the 100 is 10.1, 9.9. But if I'm like, I just need to run, at this point, just run the times you were running when you were 14, 15. I was running 10.4, 10.5 when I was 14, 15. That's not world-class. My body still remembers what a 9.9 feels like. So even a 49, 47 quarter, something like that. Well, when you ran 44, 45 before, it's like, oh, well, 49, it should be easy to get to. It's just a matter of training, conditioning, and preparing without injury.
Right.
But yeah, I can't see myself ever not running at least under a minute in the 400. So I should be 72 running 55 seconds in the 400.
is there any, like, maybe how, because the older you get, the better mental capacity you have, right? In terms of wisdom on the track.
Yes.
I mean, I imagine, like, even in a 200, I mean, maybe not 100, but in a 200, I mean, does that matter?
everything about track is all mental.
Yeah.
Now, this is going to be very interesting when I say this. If you start a 400 in the middle of the straightaway, right, versus the beginning of the curve, it actually, to me, feels better, even though it's a 400. Mm-hmm. Like, if I believe right now you can go, I'm going to say it, I'm going to put it out. I believe you can go 59 right now if you run in the middle of the curve. If you start
in the middle of the curve.
If you start in the middle of the
Okay,
straightaway, because your body only won't understand, well, distances, because when you're coming off the curve, you only have a 50 to push.
Right.
Versus when you
100.
come off that, you come off that curve and you have that whole 100, that straightaway looks much longer than what it really is, mentally.
Right.
You know, and so everything about track is mental. Everything. I don't care how great you feel. Something goes deep inside of you, just happens when you know you're about to run see, they're getting ready to run a 400. Something deep just changes when you know you're getting ready to run a 4.
Like your voice. It
gets real. It gets really dark.
So you got stronger mentally as you got older.
Yeah. I wish I could have this same mental strength with my old body.
Right. Or you're young and silly, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like they talk about all the time that, you know, because it's interesting. We always talk about maybe like sports enhancing drugs, sports performance enhancing drugs, and any kind of sport, you know.
Right.
And Shane and I always talk about how they should just let them do it. Like, it would make the sport look more fun, right? You know, if people are hitting bombs and throwing 100-mile-per-hour fastballs, people might watch baseball again, you know? Stuff like that, jumping out of the gym and everything like that. And I always hear people talk about how, like, the reason they don't allow it in maybe mixed martial arts or in MMA is because when let's say a 40-year-old fights a 30-year-old, mm-hmm. right? The 30-year-old has all of the physical power advantages, right, than the 40-year-old.
Right.
The 40-year-old has all of the mental advantages mm-hmm. against the 30-year-old when it comes to fighting. He's fighting 10 more years, you know. He's got all this wisdom built up, knowledge, all that stuff. So now if you suddenly give that 40-year-old the same physical power that 30-year-old has, that 40-year-old will destroy the 30-year-old.
Yes.
In a very, like, bad way. So it almost becomes unfair then, you know. And so, like, I hear about that kind of stuff, and it's interesting how much the mental advantage can be an advantage over physical.
Every time I try to push myself now, mentally my body's like, no, you can run every day. Mm-hmm. And I could force my body to run every day. That's where the injury comes in.
Yeah.
You know, even you could feel great one day. You can even feel great the day you get hurt. It's just that one moment that it just happens. And so I literally have to hold myself back. Even if I don't feel, you know, worn out, I'm like, okay, it's fine. You know, I like the 3 races today. I could have did 6, mm-hmm. and I probably would have been okay. But it's also that 5th or 6th run, in the middle of the race, all of a sudden, boom, it happens.
It's how you tore your pec.
Yes. Right. And so now it's like, you know what? It says 3. I have to be disciplined enough for 3. And to be honest, I learned that from talking to the 65, 70-year-olds at the meet.
That's been the biggest change that I have seen in you.
Thank you.
The ability to hold yourself back because of, I think, that competitiveness. It's easier. It was really easy for you to just say more is always just more. Like,
right.
Just keep going, keep doing it. And you still do crazy, crazy things. But even when I like watch your workouts online and you'll put the whole thing up, it's a lot more structured and well thought out. And there's a lot more discipline to everything you do than before.
You know, Sarah, you was my good angel. All them years, Gerald, maybe you shouldn't be doing this. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't. I don't think you should.
If we would have these conversations, I would tell him he was a complete ass. for even thinking about attempting something. He would do it, and then the next day he wouldn't work out with me because something hurt.
Yes.
I tell you what, I really love your story because it's like you had all this potential like building up, right? And then you kind of like shit on it because of your pride got in the way, maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you were able to find yourself and resurrect your track career. And now, you appreciate it much more than you ever done.
Absolutely.
And you are right back where you were with more goals. And, you know, you can envision this lifetime of running that is making you so happy in life, you know, which is awesome.
It's to be able to run and know that you can run forever. I mean, honestly, and now during this time, like you can get sponsorships, you know, the medal count counts the same. Think about this. If as a masters, you make it to regionals in the CrossFit games, right? And then you make it to the actual CrossFit games and win. That's huge. They're not saying, well, you only won masters at the CrossFit games.
Right, you won the CrossFit games.
You won the CrossFit games. And with the USA, with international sports at this point, the country counts every medal. So now you have the under 20 team, you have the under 23 team, you have the elites, and then you have the masters. So like this year, they just changed since everything has been pushed back. The Olympics has been pushed back to 2021. I was supposed to run in Toronto indoors. Well, it was supposed to be Toronto World Championships this year, so it's been pushed back. But now the following, like next year is supposed to be the indoor championships for Worlds. Well, they canceled it because they said we're supposed to run outdoors when the elites run outdoors. So now I'll be in Finland July 3rd through the 13th.
This year?
Next year.
Oh, next year.
You know, before the World Championships outdoors. So now I get to train a whole year to, like I said, I'm trying to break some world records.
That'd be awesome. So I want to end on this because you and I got to go run. Well, I got to run. You got to watch me. What would your 40-year-old self, almost 40-year-old self, tell your like 22-year-old senior in college self getting ready on the precipice of becoming a pro?
Take the contract. Take the contract. That's probably take the contract. If I could even go a step, instead of saying 22, younger, two things, and this is going to be crazy. Out of high school, I would have went into the military for 4 years to just build that mental capacity up and then start college afterwards. And I should have took the shot to go to Baylor, to be honest. I went to LSU because my mom was sick. I mean, coming out of high school, I had 150 scholarships. You name it, across the country. I could have went anywhere. And I love LSU because I love Coach Henry. I love everything. And I'm glad I went there and I was able to win championships at LSU. But I passed up the opportunity to train with Michael Johnson and Clyde Hart.
Oh, yeah.
I would have broke that world record. I would have broke Michael Johnson's world record if I would have trained with him.
In the 400?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
so fast, guys.
Being able to train with this guy and knowing what he knows. Baylor produced 400-meter runners. Jeremy Warner, Brandon Kuntz. I mean, and now you have Michael Johnson, obviously. I would have been training with all of them.
Did you ever ask your mom if...
No.
You didn't?
She would have told me to go.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
As a matter of fact, I did one trip. You know, you're allowed 5 trips. You know, Coach Henry, this is the last funny story, right? Coach Henry and Coach Boo showed up to my house in the lower ninth ward in their Jaguar at like 8 o'clock at night, and there's no street lights. And usually they'll send one coach, right? And they both came to recruit me. And it was the craziest thing because we never seen a Jaguar before like that. You know what I'm saying? So they show up to my house. I signed on a dot.
Yeah.
You know, I said.
Because you saw the Jaguar.
I saw the Jaguar. I knew what was going. I believe me signing at LSU, honestly, is the reason we won the state championship title that year. Because we were we were prone to win, and only thing we had to do was finish second in a 4x4 relay. And we had a baseball guy. I love him to death, but we had a baseball guy on the anchor leg, and he never had won anything. So he knew as long as we're second, we will win. And so he's coming down a backstretch, and we're in the lead, and he starts to celebrate.
Oh my God!
He puts the baton in the air, and you get disqualified for celebrating. And guy from Ostrom actually passes it up, and they win the race, but we still win the championships. And they protested for us to get disqualified. But since I had just signed my letter of intent, you're not going to really take it from me, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's how I won my state championship in high school. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Dang, it's interesting. It's interesting how much things could have been different had you maybe taken that on yourself.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I don't think I would have had the wisdom that I do now. I'd probably been more miserable now.
Right.
You know, I probably would be with you great people right now, you know.
Thank you.
Fair.
Thank you.
Fair.
You know, and then the next 20, 30 years probably wouldn't be set right now, you know. So I think everything happens for a reason, you know, and I'm more appreciative of everything at this point. And I still get the perks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I still get the perks.
All about the perks.
Absolutely.
That's what it's about.
All right, Gerald. G3 Superstar. No, wait. What is it? G3.green?
G-Force.
G-Force.green. You also, we didn't talk about this. We'll talk about this another time. But you also have another Instagram, right? G-Force Photography.
Oh, yeah. G-Force Inspires Photography. That's right. I love taking
Yeah,
pictures.
check that out on Instagram. Gerald is an awesome photographer.
Of himself.
But he will come take your crazy, cool pictures
That's
if
right.
you pay him a ton of money and
Oh,
give
boy.
him gear. So
Give me gear.
give him all the gear.
Yes.
You can find us on Instagram at @Rue_fitness. Make sure you give us a nice 5-star rating and leave us some reviews. They really help us be heard more in these searches. So we appreciate it. For Sarah and I and Rue Fitness, we thank you guys for listening and appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.